Hello, and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Ridley, and this is my kitchen, how I found it. We are doing our final little stop in India today, and we're going to be chopping off at West Bengali, and we're trying a dish today called Aloo Posto. Aloo Posto. Aloo in Hindi just means potatoes, and posto is paste, and this dish itself is just potatoes cooked in a spiced paste made from poppy seeds. It's also kind of an interesting little stop along the way because this dish rose up very specifically because of colonialism in the area. So they actually can trace this dish back to specific locations where the farmers that were local there were forced to grow poppy seeds as part of the opium trade. And as a result, there was this huge overage of poppy seeds and not enough of other staple crops to keep people, sustained and living. So what they did is some resourceful locals found a way to turn the poppy seeds into a paste that they then coated different vegetables in. So this particular one is sort of the original, which is the potato version, but you can do it with eggplants, you can do it with squash. But yeah, it is just very much a dish of necessity where people had some ingredients, they had to figure out what to do with them to stay alive, and this is a dish that came from that, became part of the cultural identity, and then became very popular. I actually had a coworker at one point who was from, specifically from Gudaraji, so not from this exact area, but he was very, very familiar with it, and it was kind of like a comfort food. So I'm excited to give it a try. It doesn't seem like it's too terribly crazy, but it looks like it's gonna be a tasty little dish. So of course, we're gonna have to have some poppy seeds. Now, interesting thing here, these are black poppy seeds, which are far more common in the West, but the dish would technically use white poppy seeds. Flavor-wise and nutrition-wise, they're very similar. The main difference is going to be, of course, the color, and then black poppy seeds have a tendency to be slightly nuttier, whereas white poppy seeds have a tendency to be a little more neutral and mild. So this might have more of a poppy punch to it, but it should be similar enough. Now, mixing in with the paste, we add a little bit of water and some sliced chilies. Again, I wasn't able to get the Jwala chili peppers. In this case, I'm using some Thai green chili peppers just because we're mixing it in, but I would say Thai green chili or Serrano chili peppers would be the best bet as a substitute here. I have those with a little bit of water. The water is just because when we're blending it into a paste, it's going to help to emulsify everything and maintain that moisture content. You can add it separately. You don't need to have it soaking with the peppers. Now that paste is then going to be added into potatoes. Again, with this one, you could switch it out where eggplant or some other vegetables, but we're going to be doing potatoes. I've got yellow baby potatoes here, cut into 1 to 1.5 inch pieces. Then that is going to be cooked in mustard oil. Now, mustard oil is an actual frying oil that you can find, but I was not able to get a hold of it, and so this is going to be a quick substitute. If you just want to substitute out the oil to cook with, you can just use canola oil, but for the extra punchy flavor of the mustard that comes from the oil, I found a recipe that recommends 1 part mustard powder to 6 parts mustard or to 6 parts neutral oil. So this is 2 tablespoons of canola oil with 1 teaspoon of mustard powder. That is then gonna be cooked down with a little bit of celery seeds. This is another substitution because technically you would want what's called nigella seeds. And nigella seeds can be called black cumin or black poppy seeds. I think you could find them online fairly easily. It is a very old and traditional spice, but it's very, very uncommon in Western cuisine. So the best substitute that I've found is either to do a little bit of oregano with some cumin or some celery seeds, which I happen to have here. Then seasoning-wise, the only little additions on top is going to be turmeric, which this one is optional, but it's just gonna add a little bit of color and of course have a little bit of the turmeric flavor and a tiny little bit of sugar just to add a touch of sweetness and hopefully mellow and round out the spice. I didn't go too crazy on any of the spicing amounts here, so a lot of recipes say you can add extra chilies if you want it to be a little more spicy, and some of them even have the chilies in the paste as well as sliced up, chopped up in the curry overall. I'm just going to be doing a few in the paste itself, and then from there we're just going to make essentially a poppy seed gravy that then goes over the potatoes. As far as prepping the ingredients goes, it was just measuring them out here, and the last little step that we're going to need to do is to make the poppy seed paste. So with these ones here, I've actually let these soak in some warm water, and you want to do that for a minimum of 30 minutes up to overnight, and that's going to help soften the poppy seeds up to make a better paste out of it. If you're doing this by hand, or they recommended a chutney grinder, you definitely want to have an additional soak on there. I am going to be just using a blender here so that I can get a really fine paste out of it. I probably didn't soak these as much as I would want to, but we're going to see what we can do with it. So as far as prep goes, we are just going to add the water and chilies, and that's going to help to add some moisture to the mix. The poppy seeds go right in. And I will say that this dish is probably going to look very different from what I would anticipate looking at images online, specifically because we are using this black poppy seed. It's going to end up with a darker sauce as opposed to more of a light tan sauce that I was seeing in some suggested ones. But theoretically, the flavor, which is what we want here, is going to be just about identical, maybe a little extra on the sesame, or on the poppy seed. But in my mind, I actually kind of like the idea of that because I have never seen poppy seed as a main ingredient like that. It's always been a garnish or maybe just a little touch in a baked good. So I'm very, very fascinated to know what kind of flavor this brings to it. So. All right, so it is breaking up a little bit, but I can definitely see why there's the recommended soak. There are still quite a lot of the sesame seed particulates in here, so I am going to just continue kind of running this through, try and get it as smooth as we can. But I understand why they recommend to have a lengthy soak for these. So, see you in a few minutes once I've gotten these pastified. The additional soak time, I think, would be very helpful for this. It did take a little bit, but I was able to pastify it. I do think that I could do a little bit of a better job if I had let it soak a little bit longer, but I also think that I've got it fairly well ground here, and I think that we'll be able to use this to make the dish. So this is our sesame paste. This is including the green chili peppers, a tiny little bit of water just to help with the grinding. But that is really all of the prep that you need for the recipe. So now that we've got all of this, we're going to head back to the stove, put everything together, and make ourselves some aloo posto. All right, so to start with, all we've done is I've added the oil that had the mustard powder in here. If you're using mustard oil, just mustard oil in there. Getting this preheated, so I'm getting a little bit of sizzling from the mustard that's in there. So next step is to add the nigella, or in my case, the celery seeds. We're gonna fry those for only a few seconds, then add the potatoes in on top, give a good mix of it, and fry for about 5 minutes. So this right here is just to kind of bloom these spices. You do not want them in there for too long. So we're just gonna do a few seconds there, get them mixed in with the oil, and then directly add the potatoes. Same thing, I'm gonna give a little stir and a mix of this. Try and get everything coated in the oil and the spices, and then we're gonna let this fry for about 5 minutes. This is gonna help to get the spice and flavor on the potatoes, start them softening up a little bit, and then we get to build the sauce around them from there. Ooh, it does smell really good though. All right, so I'm gonna let this go for 4 or 5 minutes, just stirring it intermittently throughout. All right, next step, we're going to add the turmeric. Now, some of them say that this is optional, others don't, but I do think that it is going to help add a little bit of that nice orange color. And I also like the flavor of turmeric. So we're going to mix this in nicely. I am going to make sure everything is coated and it's gotten mixed into the oil as best I can. And then from there, we're going to cover the pot and let it continue frying for another 5 minutes. Okay, so we've got a little bit more time frying the potatoes. They are not burning it all to the bottom, which is really, really good. So now we're going to add all of that poppy seed paste and the water and mix that together and then coat all of the potatoes as best we can. So this is where a smoother paste is going to make this a much easier job. I'm going to do the best I can with the paste we got. But again, it should be flavor-wise pretty similar. I'm just not entirely sure, texturally speaking, if we're going to be on the mark. All right, so here I'm going to try and mix as best I can. This is also where the main color change is going to be. So if this were using the white poppy seeds, this would be more of like a creamy tan sauce. Right here, you can clearly see that I still have some pretty hefty granules in there, but I think we're getting a pretty decent coating on all of the potatoes. So once this is there, and I think that everything's well mixed, we're going to bump the heat up just a little bit, get it to a boil, which is going to be very quick because it's already very hot. All right, so we've got the boil going right there. I'm going to turn this back down to try and keep it at a simmer. And then we are going to allow those potatoes to cook in the paste and the water for about 15 minutes. In the middle of this, I'm going to open it and give it a stir or two just to check on it along the way. You don't want it scorching on the bottom. But the point here is to just really let all the flavors mix together and develop, and then we're going to try and reduce it a little bit down until instead of a paste with water or a broth, it's going to be more of a gravy, but you can select your textural preference based on how much water you evaporate. So at the end, if you find that it's maybe a little too dry, you can add some extra water to bring it back up. But for now, I'm going to get this one timer going, and then we will come back in about 7 minutes or so, give it a quick stir, but that's all you have to do until 15 minutes. Ooh. Okay, we've got some thickening up going on already for sure. Give a little mix here, and we are going to add that pinch of sugar from earlier. Get a good mix in. And then lid back on, and we're going to finish those 15 minutes out, so another 7 or 8 minutes or so. But at that point, the dish is done, and it's just how thick you want it to be. I have no preference, so we're probably going to hang out where this ends up, but we'll catch it in 7 minutes or so. Ooh, all right. Beautimous. Okay, so all of the moisture has, for the most part, evaporated out, and it is left this sesame paste on everything. It's got a very distinctly nutty fragrance to it, so that is in line with what I was expecting. And I really don't smell the chilies, so I am interested to know how spicy this ends up being, and whether or not I would, in the future, add additional spice to it, because it's pretty mellow. But that is it. So here is our completed Aloo Posto. I'm going to get this bowled up and moved over to our tasting area and invite a Bruce in, but this is it. So only thing is that I am going to be pairing this with rice. The rice I just cooked like rice in a rice cooker, so that'll be on the bottom with this over the top, very similar as you would maybe a vegetable curry. Let's give it a try. Okay, so we've got our rice with our Aloo Posto on top. And it's got a very savory, nutty scent. Again, I'm not smelling any chili at all.
I mean, it was very little chili. It looked like it wouldn't make much difference at all. So, here we go. Let's give it a shot. You know, I was worried that because of the short cooking time, that the potatoes would be kind of hard still.
Not at all. Very
Not at all.
soft.
They are softer than I thought.
Needs salt, though, in my opinion.
I agree.
Which I didn't add any salt in earlier. It did say season to taste, but because I had no idea what I was really going for, I figured leaving it for individual additions at this point would probably be best.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add some salt to mine for sure.
The only other thing that's a little weird, not bad, is just, and probably different from how it was supposed to be, is the texture of the paste.
Mm-hmm. It does have a little bit of grit still to it, so it wasn't smooth.
I mean, to me, it's all grit. It doesn't taste pasty at all. It's
right. I think it needs to be very, because that was a part, is that it should
very
be a
extra
smooth paste.
processed. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the taste wise though, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think additional soaking time on the poppy seeds would have helped, and then probably mortar and pestle, or if you have the chutney grinder that they recommended, would be even better for this. Flavor wise though, the flavor's fine. Mm-hmm. It's not super spicy, so if you wanted something spicy, definitely add those extra chilies in. There is this like subtle nuttiness coming from the poppy seeds.
I actually really like this. It's not my favorite curry that I've ever had, but it is really good.
There's nothing overwhelming about it. Sometimes there's a specific flavor that just sort of overpowers things. Mm-hmm. In this, it's all very mellow. It's all mild. You could add a little extra kick if you wanted to with those extra chilies, but
I think personally, I would add like chicken to this.
Okay.
And do nothing else. Like cook it the same way that we did it. Just an extra like a protein, a meat in there. Would spice it up in a way that would make it really, really good.
Yeah, but
Instead
I also
of
get
just like pretty good.
I also get why that this has lasted. It was easy to put together, simple ingredients. It didn't require any crazy processes or anything. No multi-day, multi-step things. You could probably put all of this together in 20, 30 minutes if these were regular ingredients that you had around your house.
Right. I like it.
Salt, definitely major improvement. Major improvement.
True. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very true. Okay, well.
Beautiful.
This was another success, I think.
And a great way to finish off India, because this
was a winner.
Very different, but also very good.
Yeah. Yeah, the first and the last one that were really, really good.
It's a great way to bookend the country.
Bookend the country. There we go. Sorry, India, but some of the things are just not for me.
But some of them were super good.
But some of them are super, super good for me. So, thanks.
All right. Well, awesome. So next time we're going to be in a new country. I don't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but it is planned already. And so
see you next time.
So different, so tasty. So next time.